How's it going, everybody? This is Nick here from Lift with Christ, where we got two goals: getting swole and saving souls. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my personal fitness testimony and tell you guys how I went from this to this. And on top of that, I'll also be sharing with you my swole trinity, which is 3 principles that I use to get the results that I have today, and how if you follow these 3 principles, you could guarantee yourself that you'll get results when you go to the gym. So my fitness journey actually started when I was a little boy. Both of my parents always made sure that I was active in sports, and I naturally gravitated mostly toward football and basketball. I eventually reached a point in my early teens where I wanted to be better at the sports I was playing, but didn't know how to get better. And I remember my very first official workout. I was 14 years old and it was after an AAU basketball game. My parents were divorced at the time and I was at my dad's house. So my dad actually bought me a barbell and 2 dumbbells, so I made the most with what I had. I remember the very first exercise that my dad showed me how to do, which was a deadlift, into a snatch, and then into an overhead shoulder press. So I just kept doing those until I couldn't do them anymore. So after I got bored and tired of doing that exercise, I took the dumbbells that my dad gave me and did several sets of curls until my biceps were just absolutely fried. After that day in which I completed my very first official workout, every time I would go over to my dad's house, I would always make it a priority to lift in his basement, doing those same 2 exercises every single time I went to his house. After constantly doing those 2 exercises and adding push-ups and sit-ups to my workout routine, I eventually got hungrier to do even more exercises when I worked out. At age 16, my dad bought me my very first gym membership, and the rest after that was history. So after I got my first gym membership, for the next 3 years I would go through hot and cold spurts of going to the gym, not going to the gym, and whenever I would go to the gym, I never really knew what I was doing. I would just go up to random machines and just start cranking them out because it made my muscles feel good. I also had a gym at my apartment which consisted of a very similar routine. Just whatever equipment they had, I just made the most of it and just moved it without even thinking much about what I was doing. But at age 19, I then wanted to take my fitness game to the next level. Unfortunately, for the 3 years from 16 to 19, I battled with 5 knee surgeries, and during this time I unfortunately became addicted to prescription painkillers. So naturally, just being in and out of a wheelchair for 3 years, I wasn't able to get on a consistent fitness regimen. I went through this phase from 16 to 19 where I'd put on some muscle and then put on fat after my surgery. Then add a little bit of muscle again, but then add even more fat. But I was never really able to stay consistent in the gym and maintain sustained results. So at age 19, I was faced with a very difficult life decision. At this time, I was heavily addicted to oxycodone and my life was spiraling out of control. I dropped out of college and I didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. At this point in my life, I knew that I needed to make a drastic change. Not only was I heavily addicted to prescription pain medication, but I also realized that the dreams that I had as a young boy of getting in shape were starting to dwindle before my eyes. I then reached this very pivotal decision that would change who I am for the rest of my life. I was either going to go down the road that I was on and die a drug addict, or I was going to get to a detox center, get sober, and completely change my life. When I decided to become a born-again Christian and completely overhaul and change my life, once I submitted myself to the detox center, I then made a vow to myself that after I left the detox center, I was going to commit to the gym like never before and get in the best shape of my life. One of the biggest influences on my life, especially as a teenager, was WWE. And my favorite WWE wrestler in particular was John Cena. So every time I went to the gym, I always told myself that one day I wanted to have a body and physique like John Cena's. So once I fully decided and committed, once I left the detox center, to make drugs a part of my past, but to make my present and my future about fitness and dedicating my life to the Lord. Once I started going to the gym consistently, I noticed my body start to change almost supernaturally before my eyes. I will always remember being shocked and blown away by the results I was getting in just the first few months of when I decided to work out. So at age 19, when I was watching my body day after day changing before my eyes, my addiction that once was drugs turned into an addiction to fitness. So many people struggle with staying consistent and focused when they're on their fitness regimen, and so often I see a lot of people, they start going to the gym and then quit, and then jump back in and quit. And the reason why so many people quit and fail once they decide to start going to the gym or get on a new fitness regimen or start a new diet is because they do not follow these 3 principles that I'm about to share with you. For me, getting and maintaining the results that I have today start with these 3 principles. And I like to call these 3 principles the swole trinity, which is your spirit, your mind, and your body. A Bible passage that I like to lean on when I go to the gym is 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 19 and 20, which tell us, "Did you not know that our bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit? You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor and glorify God with your body." The reason I love that Bible quote so much is because fitness and going to the gym and exercising is a great way for all of us to draw closer to the Lord. As Christians, there are biblical principles that you can use in order to get in shape. The same way in which Christ fasted for 40 days, even though he was not feeding his flesh, because his flesh was suffering, his spirit was able to grow and he was able to draw closer to God. We all have that same ability to put things away that feed our flesh, such as junk food, unhealthy beverages, and laziness. If you're able to apply these biblical principles the same way as Christians we are called to abstain from sin, you can use fitness as a way to grow in your relationship with God. The biggest thing that I noticed when my spirit changed and became a born-again Christian was that I realized what was holding me back from achieving my fitness dreams. Once my spirit changed and I became a born-again Christian, I felt the Holy Spirit telling me, hey, if you want to achieve these goals, this vision, if you want to manifest what's in your head and be able to hold it in your hands, then you actually have to give up what is holding you back. The 3 biggest things that were holding me back personally were painkillers, overeating, and my time management. I then began to realize that the time that I spent watching TV, playing video games, and going out, that if I took that time and applied it to the gym, that not only would I get in better shape, but I would limit things that were holding me back from who God called me to be. The second principle of the swole trinity that I needed to change was my mind. Now, when I decided to overhaul my mind, not only was it my mindset that had to change, but it was also my knowledge of fitness as well. If you don't know what healthy food you need to be eating, what type of a workout routine you need to be on, and have the right mindset when you're going to the gym, you are going to be no different than a car that's stuck in reverse. For me, when that light switch went off in my mind, I then realized what foods I needed to be eating, and I told myself that I was going to eat them whether I liked it or not. I also made a promise to myself that I would go to the gym every single day that I could with no excuses. The same way that we program our minds to create habits, like brushing your teeth twice a day, taking a shower, I reprogrammed my mind to tell myself, hey, going to the gym is just part of being a human being and part of what I have to do every day. And that eating the right foods that I needed to eat in order to achieve the body that I wanted to was a non-negotiable. And whenever I was reluctant, I didn't want to eat the food that was on my plate. And when I was hustling and grinding hard in the gym and I was in a caloric deficit, I would then always remind myself that God would give me the strength that I needed in order to achieve my goals. For me in my journey, when my spirit changed, when I started praying more, when I started reading my Bible more, when I put down drugs, when I stopped drinking alcohol, when I stopped going out, and I started to make all these good decisions, I started to learn more about the gym, I started to change my mindset. All these things kept piling up, which leads me to my third principle, the swole trinity, which is your body. This part is one of the biggest reasons why so many people fail whenever they go to the gym. They think to themselves, hey, once my body looks a certain way, my mind is then going to feel better, and my spirit is going to change as well. But if you are going to the gym solely to change how your body looks, then you are never going to be satisfied. Because no matter what shape you're in, you are always going to want more. You can always lower your body fat. You can always pack muscle. And if you are going to the gym and getting into fitness strictly to make your flesh look a certain way, then you are already going for the wrong reasons and setting yourself up to fail. The biggest reason from 13 to 19 why I was so hot and cold and never fully committed when I was going to the gym is because whenever I would work out, I wanted my body to look a certain way without drawing closer to God, without changing my spirit, and without having a renewal of my mind. I constantly kept setting myself up for failure because I was going to the gym for all the wrong reasons. You see, your body is a reflection of what happens inside of your spirit, and your body is the output of what happens when you overhaul what's inside of your mind. The biggest thing that changed for me and why I was able to get results when I went to the gym is because for me, it's not about what I'm doing at the gym, it's why I decided to go to the gym. And the true reason as to why I started going to the gym is because ultimately deep down in my soul, I wanted to draw closer to God. And being able to change my body from somebody who was once addicted to painkillers to where I'm at now is what happens when you tell yourself, hey, I'm not working out for me, but I am working out to see what God could do inside of me when you put your full faith and trust in Him. If I didn't follow the 3 principles of the Swole Trinity, if I didn't focus on changing my spirit, if I didn't focus on getting off drugs, if I didn't focus on not going to parties anymore, not drinking alcohol anymore, if I didn't decide to focus on changing my diet, eating the right foods that I needed to eat for me and for my goals, and not doing the right workouts that I needed to do for me and to achieve my goals, then my body would not look the way that it does today. And the reason that I share this with you is because if I know that I can go from where I was to where I am today, that you can too. As a Christian, and my goal with Lift with Christ is to help as many people as I can along their fitness journeys. I not only want to help people get the body of their dreams, but to help and guide people use their fitness journeys to draw closer to God. So what I'd like to invite you to do is to use the link below and schedule a free fitness consultation with me today, where you and I will hop on a Zoom call together and we're going to go through a fitness assessment, and together while we're on the Zoom call, we're going to identify and attack what could be holding you back so I can get you on the right path to achieve the physique of your dreams. As someone who was once out of shape and addicted to painkillers, we're going to go over what could be holding you back spiritually, mentally, or physically. And from there, set up a solid game plan, and I'm going to guide you to not only get a body that surpasses your wildest dreams, but also use this whole journey to help you draw closer to Christ. So again, I'd like to invite you to click the link below in the description so you and I can hop on a Zoom call together, and today could be the day that you start a journey that is going to change you for the rest of your life. God bless, and thank you so much for watching this video, and I'm looking forward to talking to you on our Zoom call. Take care.